final 3 games, obviously probably need to win at least 2, probably 3 to get into the SEC tournament. How do you balance the scoreboard watching with the games on the field with young players?
Yeah, you can't do that. You have to focus in on what's important, which is, as I just mentioned, throwing strikes, us continuing to play really good defense and progressing offensively. So those are the things that have to happen because we can't control anything else. So, there are many times, even during the course of this weekend, I really still am very excited about some things that our kids are doing. In fact, this team does several things better than our 2013 team that almost won a national championship. This might be the best practice team I've ever coached before, but it's just there's these little moments that allow us to fall through the cracks when it matters the most. So I'm excited about this group, and I feel like they're going to compete, till the very end, whatever that is.
What are some of those things that highlight this club?
Well, again, I think our 2 middle guys running the ball really well, and I think they do it in tandem. The combination two are as good defensively as anybody in our league. If Britton's on the field, I think he has any form of health, I think he's one of the best defenders at third base. And after 4 years, he's really turned the corner as a hitter. I mean, he can really hit, especially when he's facing right-handed pitching. I mean, he's an older guy who's made a jump. We just can't see it because, his knee balloons up. I think Ray this is the best year that he's had. I think all the way around, it's the best year that he's had. He just has progressed and has done a great job. I think we have arguably one of the best catchers in the nation on our team, but he's playing with one hand. And just to see him take a swing and release the hand and go, man, if the guy could just have 2 hands right now, he'd be one. You just don't find a lot of catchers that can do it defensively and offensively, and I think he's one of those guys. I think Robson's been an exciting player for us. I think he's going to continue to get better. I think really proud of Jake Bickerson. I think he's continued to just get better and do some little things better and better and better. I think Reed Humphreys is going to be a premier hitter as soon as he can have an entire year where he's not hurt. I think Michael Smith is going to be an outstanding player for us in the future. He's just starting to make some strides. Essentially he was done for 10 weeks because he pulled a quad muscle. He really wasn't full speed, until the weather started to warm up. And then he was behind in at-bats. I think we have 2 dynamic guys, big physical guys who can pitch, in the future, maybe at the beginning of the game or the end of the game. Dakota Hudson, is one of those guys in Houston, certainly one of those guys. I think that, I just met with Jesse McCord, who coming in here I felt like was going to be, one of the best freshman arms in the Southeastern Conference, and I still feel like he's got a bright future. He had shoulder surgery, and he really didn't get to pitch for us. He had an issue coming into the fall that we weren't, and he wasn't fully aware of. It just goes on and on and on. We have a lot of positives. We just don't have use of everybody who's in our program. And I think when we have use of those guys along with the guys, hopefully, who are going to join us next year, I think there's some really special things that can happen. But we got to have the full use. You can't have a dynamic player and say he's going to play with one hand, although that's what we're asking him to do. And I really believe in some cases that's going to make him an even better player down in the future, just because he's had to do some things a little bit differently.
What do you know about Tennessee?
I've seen both their left-handers pitch. Drake, I've seen him pitch, and I've seen the other left-hander, what's it?
Andy Cox?
Yeah, I've seen both those guys pitch on film. I think they're as competitive as anybody. I think in some ways they're a little bit like us. I mean, you could flip their season a little bit, and they could easily have 14, 15 wins with the amount of one-run losses and tight games they played. They're really well coached. I think they're a nice ball club, and anybody playing at home is going to be better. So, they're a good team. If you put them maybe in any other league in America, they might be a phenomenal team. But the margin of error is so small in our league that those things happen to you.
After the disappointing weekend, just how has the team bounced back in practice?
They've been phenomenal. I think our positional players look around and say, hey, man, we took it to those guys, and we had one bad inning of pitching, and it really cost us. And I think that's, when you're them, that's how you have to look at it. But, you know, we really break the game down in such a way to where here's what we believe are the 20 most important things in the game. Number one is pitching in pattern one and throwing strikes. That's number one. And we had a great meeting on Monday to talk about those other 19 things. We did a phenomenal job of, but they don't matter if you can't do number one. Number one is, it's the first commandment of baseball, is you have to throw it in the strike zone and trust your defense. And essentially, that's what we have a bad taste of. It's hard to get, you know, it's hard to get angry at, you know, whatever, 25 guys in your dugout when there's two guys who couldn't throw it in the strike zone for you. And both those guys have really been pitching well for you until that point.
How's Reed? He left the game, I think, Saturday.
Yeah, he pulled a quad, and, you know, I don't know if he's going to be able to go this weekend or not. You know, he's somebody that, you know, we'll just wait and see. He's somebody that I really felt like started to see the baseball pretty well.
How important is it to try to get? Well, how important would it be to make the SEC tournament after this season?
Yeah, I know this sounds like coach speak and the jargon and everything else. I don't even think about that. I don't even care about that. What I care about is how well our kids play. Because if our kids play well and they progress, everything else takes care of itself. So I couldn't even tell you what the standings are in the Southeastern Conference right now, because all I want to be an expert is on who we're playing, and I want to be an expert on our kids, because anything else really doesn't matter.